Mohammed Fazul Abdallah, alleged mastermind of the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, Harun Aswad, linked to the London 2005 bombings, Mohammed Gulza, implicated in the foiled plot to detonate explosives on board flights from Britain to the U.S. At least one security expert believes we have a lot to worry about.
South Africa is seen by Al-Shabaab as a safe haven. It is a place where they do get their passports.
Botha has cited porous borders, widespread corruption, an advanced banking and ICT network, and a false sense of immunity as factors that make South Africa the perfect planning base for terrorists. She says there's a thin line between being viewed as a terrorist safe haven and becoming a target of terror activities.
I hope that we are going to learn from what occurred in Kenya and all other incidents of terror that occur throughout the world. Hope our security forces become alert.
Hopes that will hopefully be backed up with action. Thulasizwe Semelane, Johannesburg.
News that moves. enca.com.
South Africa. What if I told you the very government warning you about misinformation, right, is the same one hiding terror threats from you? Now, Dirco says there's nothing to worry about. The SAPS says military-style training camps, relax. The presidency says US and UK travel warnings are normal. But I say, when multiple intelligence agencies, social media leaks, and even Lesotho, right, the little country inside of us, Lesotho's police force say there's a problem, you bet your last puppet force the Israeli problem. Now, let's speak about Dirco. For those that don't know, Dirco is the Department of International Relations led by Ronald Lamola, right? Dirco's denial, the classic gaslight, right? Let's start with the UK Travel Advisory, reissued in April 2024, right? And suddenly going viral again in July 2025. According to the British government, there is a credible risk of terror attacks in South Africa. They warn of lone actors inspired by groups like ISIS, targeting public spaces, tourist hubs, shopping centers, and the works. But what does our oh so transparent Department of International Relations say? In classic ANC style, if it's nothing that favors them, it's disinformation, outdated, misleading. Nothing to see here. Shoo shoo, fly, don't bother me. Dirco spokesperson Crispin Piri says it's all a big misunderstanding. Recycled content from 2022. The real danger is apparently not the terrorists, but Twitter accounts. Because in South Africa, it's not terrorists we worry about, it's posts on X. Funny how the government finds time to fact check memes, but not time to secure our borders or to look into Julius Malema saying kill the poor, or perhaps dealing with load shedding, or perhaps refuting the claims that white students get more marks in varsity, because that is not true, or not protecting private property. The list is very long. Our governments seem to be occupied by minuscule distractions. The reality check is the warnings are real. Let's be clear. The UK travel warning was reissued in April 2024. That's not 2022. That's not ancient history. It's after Parliament fell into chaos, after SAPS failed to control the streets, after state security was scattered. Even the US government in their 2025, now this year, travel advisory issued a level 2 alert for South Africa. warning their citizens of rampant crime and potential security risks. But again, in classic ANC government fashion, they say, don't worry about it. It's just their standard practice. So let me remind you. You remember the July unrest, where we were warned by the US that this is coming, and our government, didn't believe it. They played it very slowly, and it came, oh boy. It came tumbling like a ton of bricks. It came destroying KwaZulu-Natal business. We saw rioters looting from taking lands with cheeses. Well, actually, is there a plural for cheese? Or it's lands with cheese, actually, not cheeses, pardon me. Taking... I literally saw a video, by the way. I had to mention this. I saw a video of a lady with 2 fridges, right? Supposedly, this lady is a single mother. Supposedly, on the video. A fridge, double fridge with 2 double fridges, right? And it was filled with lands with cheese. I mean, the video is not about July unrest, but it's just to say the level of ridiculousness that we have in South Africa. Nonetheless, we were warned about that. We did nothing. So let me ask you, why are foreign governments more concerned about your safety than your own government is? Why are foreign governments, i.e. Australia, the United States, and possibly the UK, more concerned for Afrikaner lives than the South African government is? It's a shame on you, Ramaphosa. It's a shame. Now, the Basotho separatist plot. Let's speak about this. Let's bring in the real kicker. Lesotho's National Police Commissioner says Basotho nationals are getting military-style training on South African farms. And we discussed this in an earlier episode on this channel. Yep, they are armed, trained, and indoctrinated and preparing for a land reclamation campaign that includes parts of the Free State, Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. Basically, by the sound of things, the whole of South Africa, except for Limpopo. And the South African government knew, they knew. They just didn't hear about it in July. They've been engaging with Lesotho on this since early 2025 and never said a thing. But what did they tell you, the people? Nothing, in classic style. Instead, they tried to discredit Lesotho's police chief. They said, and I quote, "Nothing has been found." Yet, in the same breath, they admit to pockets of individuals being found, arrested, and charged for being in the country illegally. So which is it? No military camps or people being trained and arrested? Which is it? Let's talk about Dr. Tshepo Lipholo. Is a Basotho Member of Parliament and leader of the Basotho Covenant movement. He is not just tweeting motivational quotes and throwing shade at the ANC. He's been arrested for sedition, incitement, and even declared himself paramount chief of Basotho land. He is the man behind the Basotho land reclamation plan, and he's allegedly calling on young Basotho to prepare for armed struggle. He even took this madness to the United Nations, pushing Lesotho to reclaim land currently governed by South Africa. But again, what does our government say? Oh, don't worry, he was acting alone. The Lesotho government didn't approve the trip. That's cute. Meanwhile, audio clips are surfacing. Young men are getting training, and SAPS is now scrambling to investigate alleged possible terror in South Africa. Now, here's the bigger picture. Is this terrorism or treason? So what do we have here? A terror alert from the UK warning of ISIS-style attacks, military-style training camps, preparing for separatists for an armed campaign, foreign MPs promoting sedition and plotting land takeovers. A government that says nothing to see here and who is the real enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that our friendly neighbors, Eswatini, have accepted a bucket load of dangerous thugs from the US that have actually touched down in Eswatini and are waiting for more to touch down. Now, knowing our country and knowing that the fact that these criminals came from hardened prisons in the US and going to Eswatini, there's a reason the US sent them to a neighboring country. There is a reason. We've got porous borders. Don't be shocked when those thugs land up in South Africa and commit atrocious crimes. It's bound to happen. Let us not forget that we fought with Rwanda earlier on this year. The whole, DRC fight, that involved Paul Kagame. That is something that we seem to have forgotten, how close we were to a full-blown out attack. But our government will never admit these things. The bottom line is South Africa's infrastructure, people, and international relations is in immense danger. Ladies and gentlemen, for asking questions, we become enemies. Journalists are not reporting on this. Social media users have now decided to take the truth into their own hands by resharing public alerts and citing the real dangers that our country faces. Because if the government can't fight terrorists, at least they can fight tweets. So the next time someone in power tells you to verify the date or that South Africa is a vibrant and welcoming destination, ask them why they're spending more time debunking supposedly old travel advisories than they are investigating armed separatists in the Free State. Ask them why foreigners know more about threats we face than we do. Ask them why terrorists and extremists feel so comfortable training in South Africa. But most of all, ask yourself this: is this still a country being governed, or is this a country being managed until its eventual collapse? You've been watching 10 Minutes with Kuhle. Please don't forget, you can sign up for membership. It's as cheap as 20 Rand. It really helps in keeping the lights on and helps in getting these stories. It's tedious making these videos. As well as you can support our work by buying us a coffee, which would be kind. And you can do that through the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because the truth isn't coming from the mainstream, but it's coming from here. This has been 10 Minutes with Kuhle, and I've been your host, Kuhle Kwetu Maseko. Till next time, which is actually later on today. God bless and enjoy the rest of your day.
National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola has met with all 9 provincial commissioners in a Board of Commissioners meeting with us to discuss crime combating efforts in the country, including the allegations made by Advocate Matsoso of existing Lesotho military camps that are apparently operating in South Africa. Commissioner Masemola then reached out to the Lesotho police chief, where they then discussed allegations that were leveled by Matsoso. And both commissioners then agreed that both law enforcement agencies' intelligence structures need to be on the ground to investigate the existence of such camps.
The intelligence structures of both the Lesotho police and the SAPS have heightened their operations to investigate allegations made and, where necessary, track down and take down such illegal activities. The DPCI, also known as the Hawks Crimes Against the State Unit, has also been roped in to investigate. Various searches have been undertaken by the Hawks Cats unit at various identified farms, and no such evidence has been found to date. Further to this, the National Commissioner of SAPS, General Fani Masemola, has reached out to the Lesotho Police Chief, where the two commissioners discussed the allegations made by Advocate Matsoso. Both commissioners agreed that both law enforcement agencies' intelligence structures are on the ground to investigate the existence of such camps. General Fani Masemola assures all people living in South Africa that the safety and security of the people of SA is of paramount importance, and anyone who is found to be in the country committing illegal acts will face the full might of the law. To this effect, intelligence structures and operatives of both countries are on the ground to establish facts. South Africans are urged not to panic or worry, as police from both countries remain on high alert.